you just got to give your art a little something every day. Like do something for your art every day, whether it is writing something down or updating a page or taking a picture or listening to music or whatever it is. She goes, try to give your art a little something every day.
Jump, you're ready now. Jump, the sky's the limit. Jump, jump, jump. Leave it all behind and jump. Just go for it. Jump, if you can dream it. Jump, jump, jump. Together we can do all things.
Hi guys, welcome to Jump. Today I have Sandra, the founder of My Tappas. Sandra, can you tell me your whole name?
Yes. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Yes, my name is Sandra Portal-Andreu. Yeah, a lot of R rollings in there.
So I first saw you on Amazon. We're still there, you know, with the inherent Spanish month. So we had that there. And I saw everybody that was there. I usually was like, who's there? I wanted to see it. So I saw you there and I was so impressed by your pictures. I was so impressed by your story. I was so impressed by your product. It touched my heart. It really did. And then I knew there was a story attached to that. I knew that there would be a story attached to that. So can you take us back and say, how did this whole thing started? Did you, as a child, did you growing up with entrepreneurship in your family? Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, well, it's a lot to unpack, so I'm going to try to keep it really condensed to not bore anybody. I was born in Hialeah, which is kind of like a suburb of Miami. Immigrant parents. My father is Cuban exile, and my mother was born in Medellin, Colombia. And they kind of, grew up here, or at least, finished school here and found each other, and I came along, right? But my family was really, I like to say that there was a lot of inventors in my family and entrepreneurs. And I think that that's really common. I don't think that that's anything unique when it comes to the immigrant story. I feel like when people come to a new place, it's like an opportunity for them to really just be like, I'm going to explore something. I'm going to try something new, and pave a different life, right? So on my Cuban side, my grandfather was an electrician. He was very good with his hands, built things. And my grandmother, I like to say that she was the first entrepreneur that I ever knew, because she started a business to really support herself after my grandfather passed away. She was widowed before the age of 50, with a special needs daughter. And so she developed this company of selling water filters and bidets. She knocked door to door with her daughter and would go into people's homes and talk to them. And she built this network of people that just knew my grandmother. So that was kind of my first job. At 12 years old, I would do like the receipts for her and on Saturday mornings and file everything. So I had that, right? My father is in the computer tech world, so he's gone through a lot of like startups and creating products and things like that. And I've sort of seen that along the way with him. So that's a huge influence in my life as well. On the Colombian side, my grandmother is super artistic and creative, which I think I get that from her. My grandfather, again, was super he built everything. by
Wow.
hand. He built my bassinet, and I still have this bassinet that 40 something years later, it works. And actually my second born, I had him, in the bassinet that was mine, and he built this by hand.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So, there was all of that. My mom ended up, she's an educator, and she ended up building a business as well with her sister. It's a family business, but it's a preschool, and they've had it for more than 25 years. So all of these influences are really, really strong in my family. And, for me, for Tapas, I mean, Tapas is really an extension of my artistic practice. My background is in the arts. I feel like that's where we have a little bit of a connection there, you and I. But my background was mainly in the performing arts, like in dance and theater.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Dance and theater. So when I first thought of Tapas, I didn't really know, what this world was like. I've never had created, designed, anything like that. I've designed and created, productions and, choreographies and things like that. But creating something tangible was something new for me. And I was really excited about that.
So as to the journey, then how from all the inspiration, when you were talking about your grandmother and your grandfather, it made me really tear up inside of me, because I always feel that we never get to one place alone. There's always somebody that has impacted us. But then how did you ended up creating the tapas bamboo, the bowl? Like, how did you got to I need this in my life?
So so being, Latina and all that, you know how it is. We like to do family parties and bring everybody over.
Yes, time.
All the time. And my parents were pretty notorious for having epic parties. And this one family gathering wasn't, something big. It was just like a family gathering. We were just kind of getting together for dinner. And we did have some guests over. And I remember walking into the house, and my mom had this table full of tapas, like little things to pick and small bites, and the papitas and the salsas and the things, and the cheese, and everything was in a separate plate. Everything was in a plastic plate, and it was just, I don't know, it didn't look like nice. And I remember I was helping my mom move all these things, and I was like, man, I really wish, it dawned on me right there. I was like, I wonder if there were a container with multiple layers that could hold different foods, and you can transport it. You could put it in the middle of the table. Voila, you open it up and it's like a centerpiece, That's the moment that it happened for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my mom likes to she was like, it's because of me.
But you got inspired and you're like, wait a second. I need to put front.
Well, and then the next day, I don't know why, but the idea still was in my head. It wouldn't go away. And I started doing a simple Google search, and I started Googling all these different combination of words. I was actively looking for what I sort of envisioned in my head.
What?
Yeah. I was like, it has to be out there. It has to be out there. And I looked and looked and looked. This was in 2015, and I didn't see anything. So I started drawing. And I remember the next day, my parents actually came over to my house, and we've always had this thing where we're always throwing out ideas, what if there was this, or what if there was that, and then we would Google it, and it already exists, or this and that. And so I remember I drew a picture and I showed it to my dad, and I said, hey, look, I haven't found anything like this. What do you think? And they were like, oh, this is interesting. It could be, whatever. And I said, well, it could be really cool. It could be like a art piece. It could be a functional thing. It could be easily taken apart. You can wash it, all these things. And that's when they said to me, you need to work with a designer. And I said, of course, because my world is 5, 6, 7, 8. And, this, they were like, and it just so happens that, a friend of theirs had a son that had just graduated from like design, what is it called? Structural or, what's the right term? It's like engineering,
Right.
Product engineering or something. And that was the first conversation that I had, essentially. I met with this guy. He was young and he started, he was the kind of like the gateway that opened up to other conversations and other networks, other designers that would eventually sort of get me to the place where I was like, okay, this is it,
That's amazing. Now, if we run over all the entire process that takes, so you were from 2015 all the way to 2021 when I see you on Amazon, it took a long time to process until you were in the market. Is that
Well, we launched in 2020, right? So up until 20, yeah. So it was about 5 years that I was developing this, but it took a long time. But it's like I tell people, this was a side thing. This was just like a passion project. I didn't know where it was going to go. When we got the patent, I didn't realize that was one step. It was all these little steps, and I was having, I was working in the nonprofit sector in arts administration. I was teaching. I was, an active artist in the community. I still consider myself that I am, producing work, having commissions. So I had, raising a family. So I was doing all of these other things and little by little, just kind of working on this thing that would like stare at me, when they'll be like, have you done anything for Tappas today? Have you ever done anything for Tappas this month? Oh, okay. Let me check in on.
Dream. It was part of your dreams. Like, I want to do this.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was like a small passion project that some steps took time, some steps, I was working with people that were busy working on other things as well, and it was one of those things like, okay, when can we get together? Oh, not next week. Okay, the following weekend. It sort of was it wasn't rushed, but it was very much an organic process.
And the coolest thing is if a lot of our listeners, they are makers and creators and artists, it takes time, but the little thing that you do every day accumulates to you being in the first page on Amazon.
Right. So I had I call her my fairy art mother, right? So she's a very good friend. She's an artist as well in the community. She does mosaics, and she and I, we connect like, a lot. And I remember, when I was first starting to get commissions and things like that as an artist, she always told me this, because I was like, I don't know how you juggle it, because she does her artwork, but then she also manages a business and family. And she goes, you just got to give your art a little something every day. Like, do something for your art every day, whether it is writing something down or updating a page, or taking a picture, or listening to music, or whatever it is. She goes, try to give your art a little something every day. Plug in every day, little small steps. It could be the tiniest little thing of maybe just taking a look at a budget or taking a look at a photo or, planning what your social media is going to look like or your marketing or, little things like that, just every day.
It's amazing. Now, when we talk about this is such a good advice because that really makes a difference. This is how we look at this and you're like, oh my gosh, it takes every day you pursuing that. Now, with the future that you had on Handmade Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
what was like for you to see yourself there? Like,
It was weird. It was weird, right? Last month, I don't know about you, but it felt like such a whirlwind, like all of a sudden, like Hispanic Heritage Month and Amazon just kind of like really, blasting us out there. It was something that I didn't really expect. And a lot of people, it's funny that you say that, yeah, things do take time because a lot of people came up to me and they were like, did you do this during the pandemic? And I was like, there is no way I could have done this during the pandemic. I mean, unless I would have dropped everything completely and just focused on that, perhaps I could have condensed 5 years into, 12 months. But, we were all trying to survive, right? In any way that we could. So, that was a reaction that I got from some people. But it was funny because, I remember going to one of my best friend's house and he was like, I'm just going on Amazon trying to shop for something. And who do I see? And I see he saw me and he was like, I'm proud of you. And I was like, wow, so just, yeah, blasting your face on a website that lots of people are going to see is something. Yeah, but it's the sense of like the support that I got from so many people that I was like, wow, I didn't realize how much I needed that, how much I needed to just hear people say, wow, man, like you did it. This is like amazing. And because you just get so sucked into the process, right? You get so sucked into like, do it. It's like a fast lane that you just forget about all that other stuff,
Yeah, and then you take a moment to celebrate because that's what it was. It's like
yeah,
celebrate and be like, man, that's awesome.
yeah.
It's so great, So moving forward, one of the things I ask everybody, and I wanted to ask you, is do you have a quote that is your favorite that you write it in the wall, you put it somewhere so you remind yourself? So can you share that with our listeners?
So one of the quotes that I really that really comes to a special place is do small things with great love.
Gosh, that's in your story.
Right? That's in my story. and it's something that just resonates with me. It's from Mother Teresa, of course. And, but it's so profound, I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, if you're going to do something, do it well and do it with a lot of love, because that's what people connect with. That's how you begin to sort of develop yourself as a person, as yourself, as part of this grander, picture of like community and what is your place in the community. So if you are approaching things with that openness, with that love and care, I think, people will value it and people will see like, yeah, like, it's this is real, it's not something gimmicky or anything.
And the thing is, your product is 100% for the community. It's the product is, oh sure, you're gonna put a little cheese and blueberry and things, but truly what you're promoting, it is the table.
Mm-hmm.
It is the community, and that is where we all belong. we are craving for that.
Right.
Right. So today, when you see your product being used in the tables and you see people gathering and families together, how do you feel?
I feel like they're part of the experience that I had now growing up, that I hope that they're sort of creating that experience for themselves. And you know, yeah, it's funny. The other day I was describing it and I was like, I feel like the product is not just a product, but it's almost like a sense of immersion. Like I want the audience, look at me, the customers, to play, to have this tangible thing, but that they can constantly use it over and over again. And the fact that it moves, it has this thing with it, a sense of play, right? That people could play with it. And I think that's really just like an extension of my experience of being a mover, of being an artist, of being an educator, of being a mother, of being a Latina, all these things. And it's sort of like encapsulated, if you will, in this ball, in this little spiraling ball.
I just want to say that it's so inspired to me, like our conversation, and because of your story and where you come from, I relate so much in different ways. It's so inspired to me and will be so inspired to our listening. And your energy is so vibrant. You have such a fantastic energy. I love it so much. Now, can you share with us, like, where do you see My Tapas going? Like, what do you envision? Like, where is the direction that you're going? Are you going to give us more things? What is happening next?
So, I want to continue creating different styles, different colors. That's sort of my focus now for next year, is to introduce a brand new color or a brand new wood, right? So we're working with a new factory that could potentially give us that opportunity with bamboo, that I'm kind of really excited about, So that's really the thing, is that I want to try to at least have 3 different wood colors or wood types. So yeah, I see tapas being a very niche product that people can turn to for gifts, for weddings, for home, housewarmings and things like that. And perhaps, like I said, introducing new woods, introducing new shapes. Maybe in new sizes, maybe we can have a little tiny tapas. Little tiny tapas for the kids.
And you're so good. I mean, you're so good with the marketing. And I mean, when I felt like I was like, she's doing this for years. I was like, your commercial, your videos, your pictures, everything is so like it caught my heart. I was like, ooh, I can feel it, So I wanted to do that. Now tell us, how do the people can connect with you? Where is the best place for people to find you?
Okay. So yes, and thank you. Thank you so much. This is my first podcast. I'm like so excited.
First of many.
I am available. But yeah, if people want to connect, they can totally go to our website, which is www.mytapas, so .com. So mytapas.com. The extra P is for my last name. So.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then our Instagram is also at My Tapas, Facebook as well, My Tapas, and we're on TikTok. And yes, we are. And it's my dot tapas on TikTok.
All right. Well, Sandra, I just want to say it was a joy talking to you. I hope everybody go check out your website, your Amazon store, your Instagram, and connect with you because I think you have so much more to give. You're such a light, sunshine star, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for doing all the beautiful work that you do, inspiring.
Jump, you're ready now. Jump, the sky's the limit. Jump, jump, jump. Leave it all behind and jump. Just go for